Big Sills. 16 days until the guys put the mouthpieces in again. And we start the 2023 National Football League campaign. That's incredible. Doesn't it seem now that the National Football League, they just don't have like an off season anymore? I mean, they are constantly in the news. Whether it's the draft, free agency, speculation on what a quarterback may do, conversations that are always brought up. By the way, more conversation is brought up in the offseason about former players, current players, than any other sport. You're not really debating anything with LeBron James right now, but you're talking about, and I saw people and listen to people on WIP talking about McNabb. I'm going to kind of broach that stuff here in a little bit, and also a little bit on Jalen Hurts here. You know, we've been going over position rooms too, plus your Week 8 opponent, the Washington Commanders. Craig Carton will join us. FS1 and the Craig Carton Show used to be on WFAN and used to be also a radio host at WIP, will join us at 4:30 Eastern. We will get Carton's opinions and get his thoughts on Jalen Hurts as we move forward here. All right. So I was listening, and by the way, can you tell me, is this just conversation? When people start to do this, is Jalen Hurts the best quarterback in Eagle history? Come on, man. Come on. Jesus criminy. Really? We're there already? Or is it just, again, a fun debate? Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and kill anybody over this debate. Okay? Now, if you want to say this, is he the most complete package of a quarterback in Eagle history? And you want to define it to the time and to, it's actually not even fair to Jalen. When you have a conversation like that, hey, no, Kevin, I didn't bring it up. WIP has brought it up. Is he the greatest quarterback in Eagle history? No, I'm not. Okay? And even Tone's like, hey, people got to relax and let Jalen just play out his career. I mean, now look, again, it's not something to kill anybody over, and it's not something to get bent over either, but you're talking about a guy who has actually done little. I'm not going to say nothing because that's not fair to him either. But we're in such a rush. You were in a rush to pay him. You're in a rush to judge him now. But that's our society. You don't let this thing play out yet. Now, again, if you want to have a conversation, you think he's the most complete quarterback in Eagle history. I would debate that a little bit because I think Randall was right there as well. Randall played in today's NFL. Randall Cunningham might be Patrick Mahomes. It's a fun conversation. Again, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, these guys at IP are – it's not a ridiculous conversation. But I do think you have to define it better. Still, it's James, right? Listen, I'm not going to go either way on this conversation here. I'm just saying, man, you've got such a small sample size. You have such a small sample size in Jalen Hurts' career. I mean, this is tell me this. This is exactly what you did to Carson Wentz. The people in Philadelphia and the media did this exact thing to Carson Wentz. You feel better about this conversation because you know why? You feel Jalen is a more mature player than Carson Wentz was. You look at him as a better leader. You look at him more complete. You look at his decision-making. You look how his teammates treat him. All of that is fair and right. Okay? Wait a minute, Barb. So but see, Barb goes, okay, but Carson, you did say this about Carson early in his career. You said the same things about Carson Wentz that you're saying right now about Jalen Hurts. Was that fair? No. You didn't let him play it out. And once he played it out, you guys were wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong in the sense that this guy was going to be someone who could. Hey, by the way, Carson Wentz did carry your franchise pretty successfully. Short period of time. Hey, some guys have 20-year windows like Brady, and some guys have 5-year windows like Wentz. We see that all the time in NFL history. Some guys have lengthy careers, some guys don't. That's who Carson Wentz was. He was a shooting star. Brady was the consistent comet. And you knew, like the moon, it circled the earth every year. It was not going to be over the top spectacular, but it was going to be a performance that you enjoyed watching every single Sunday. Brady doesn't have a wow factor in his career either, like Hurts doesn't. But what you say about Brady at the end of his career, he's more revered now than any moment in his career. Do you understand what I'm saying here? There's not a defining moment like John Elway and the helicopter spin going into the end zone in the Super Bowl, or Montana throwing five touchdown passes in the Super Bowl to destroy the Broncos. There's none of those in Tom Brady's career. There's none of those in Jalen Hurts' career. What these guys do is built up equity, and they continue to build equity. That's why their story is going to be told at the very end, not the beginning. Mahomes is a shooting star. How long does Mahomes last? How long do you think Mahomes lasts? You guys are probably thinking 10 years. I don't know. Yet to be determined. Longevity now is his enemy. How long will he last doing that? How long would he last being that way? Will he be the same quarterback if Andy Reid retires? When Andy hits 71? There's a lot of factors in his career yet. Is he going to be Brady? Is he going to be close to Brady? Will he win more Super Bowls than Bradshaw and Montana? Longevity is now how we're going to define him. He's got a short, brilliant career in Kansas City going. Okay? Mahomes will last longer than Josh Allen. We'll see. You keep taking pieces away from him, and the AFC continues to get better. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be an easy putt for Kansas City to get back to the AFC title game. They're not in the NFC. They've got a gauntlet of teams that they have to get to. You understand, like the Colts, who the Eagles beat a year ago, beat them. You got to have your A game every single week. Eagles, and the organization knows that too. They're no longer the hunted, they're the hunter, or they're going to be hunted. They're no longer the hunters. Staying on top, I think it's tougher than getting to the top of the mountain. Okay? Josh is taking a beating. He is. Will he have it? That's my point on Hurts. You don't know. Jalen Hurts has not finished a season in the regular season playing a full 16 or 17 games yet. He's not, because he's been banged up. That's not going to get better. He's not miraculously going to get healthier. That's going to continue the trend in the way that you're thinking it's going to trend. Now, can he do things, and is he a smart guy? Absolutely. But to say that he's the greatest quarterback in Eagle history after one great year is so absurd. That's like calling Roger Maris the greatest home run hitter in New York Yankee history because he eclipsed Babe Ruth with 61 home runs. What happened to Maris after that? You know, Maris never hit 300 home runs in his career. And after that, he never hit over 33 home runs for the rest of his entire career. You have no idea how this storyline is going to play out. Okay? The year previous, Maris hit 39 home runs in 60. Came back the next year at 61 and hit 61. After that, never hit more than 33. Finished his career with the Cardinals. Yankees traded him. They were calling him the greatest home run hitter in Yankee history. Well, turned out not to be true. Actually, you could probably put 20 guys in front of Maris. So look, and again, it's not to kill anybody in the media, but geez, oh man. Those conversations, that never even popped into my mind when it came, is Jalen Hurts the greatest quarterback in Eagle history? Now, is Jalen Hurts got the most potential of any quarterback in Eagle history? Those are conversations you can have today. Is he the best leader that you've seen so far? Okay, I like Jaws. I didn't think Randall and Donovan were very good leaders. Could he be? Yeah. Does he have the gravitas that Nick Foles had where everybody rallied around him? Yeah. Jalen's got a lot of Nick Foles in him. Underdog. Coming from behind. No one believing. He's a star player with Nick Foles' mentality. Always the underdog. Always looking up. Always, what did one of the sports writers in Philadelphia say? Insecure about the fact that no one really believes in what he's doing or he's going to do. That's the secret sauce with Jalen Hurts. Okay? Again, he is so fun to cover. I'll tell you something, Tone. Everyone, he's fun to cover. He's fun to cover. He's fun. Could be the best athlete in Philadelphia sports history that if you give him criticism, he's not going to go sideways like Randall would or McNabb. And if you give him kudos, he's not going to take it to his head like Embiid. He's a level-headed guy that can handle criticism and also all the accolades. That's a rare guy who can do that. That's why he's fun to cover. He's fun to cover because I think wouldn't you guys agree, he's more fueled by the shit talk than he is by the pats on the back and the contract. When Jalen Hurts signed that contract and he got that $255, was that not the most uncomfortable you've ever seen Jalen Hurts, including in the pocket? When he had to talk money? That's who you want to give the money to. He's the guy that's uncomfortable talking about the money because he knows he plays in a team sport and he knows he needs all those guys. That's why the Eagles gave that to him. They gave that to him because they trust him. Okay? JoJo goes, not as fun to watch. Randall was a highlight reel. Absolutely. But Randall was adversarial with the Philly fans and the Philly media. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about on the field. I said covering Jalen is fun. It's fun to cover him. He's not going to get sideways on negativity. And he's not going to pat himself on the back when people are giving him accolades. It's great to cover that because you know that it's going to be fair coverage and that he's going to take both sides of it. Do I think he listens to it? Everyone listens to it. Do I think he applies it to his game? I think he applies the negativity to it. I don't think he listens to I tell you what, I think he listens more to the negative stuff and it fuels him like it did Jordan than the positive stuff. I really don't think the $255 million is a motivating factor for Jalen Hurts. I think it's a reward for what he's done and how people look at him. You're investing in the jockey here. And you're hoping this jockey takes you home. I bet Hurts told Nicole Lynn, hey, just make sure I get what's fair. That's all I want. Don't overcook the negotiations. Yeah, and that's why the negotiations turned out to be the smoothest $255 million deal I've ever seen accomplished in a pro sport. And for that matter, in any business that I've ever seen. I've never seen 250. Have you ever seen stadium renovations when someone's asking for $400 million or $300 million? Have you ever seen those negotiations go smoothly? Hey, we want to do renovations on Lincoln Financial. What would that be like in Philly? You'd probably do it because the Eagles consistently give you a winner, and I wouldn't have a problem doing it either. That's one of the very few cities. If the owner came out and said, hey, we want to upkeep Lincoln Financial, that's your barn, dude. You're the ones that show up to it. That's your barn. Sure, the owner benefits, but I benefit on Sundays. Okay? I benefit on Sundays, and my team benefits playing there. That's a civic pride building. I wouldn't mind paying it. Do I have a problem paying for something like that in a place like Carolina? Yeah, I do. Or a place like Jacksonville? I do. You don't do shit for us. That's why I've said, hey, Doug's changing the culture in Jacksonville. Do you understand until Doug Peterson showed up, if you put Florida State tickets, Georgia Bulldog tickets, and like Gator, Bulldog, and FSU tickets on the table and put Jags tickets, you know the Jags would be the last tickets taken? They would never take a pro ticket in Jacksonville, Florida. Never. You could never sell pro football in Jacksonville. Now you can. Doug's changing the culture there. Absolutely. Conversations on Jalen Hurts being the greatest quarterback in Eagle history is a joke. Let him play out, man. Dude, he puts a, hey, and by the way, always remember something here. And I want you guys to know this. And some of you probably don't believe it, but you should. I'm rooting for the kid to have the best success possible. You know why? Nobody likes covering a shitty football team or a shitty player. I sell sports. I don't sell toxic sports. I sell sports. And a team that stinks and a quarterback that stinks doesn't sell. Get that through your heads. Anybody who fails and anybody who roots for athletes to fail, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job. You're not. We're here to sell sports. This is my deal. Sports. Sports suck. America sucks. That's why some people tune off networks now. America's the worst. You're ripping the thing you cover the most and what you are. Get this, real quick. If I was CNN, I would be rooting for Donald Trump to be the president of the United States for the next 20 years. You know why? Because he brings you ratings. You're missing who you are. Well, you know, hey, Michael Jordan had the greatest line of all time. Republicans buy sneakers too. Jalen Hurts sells. Too bad the league doesn't see it. And too bad the league looks at other guys, okay, to sell the league. Jalen could sell it. He's got a great story. He's just not hey, would we not agree? Chime in on this too. Would we not agree during the Brady time, Peyton Manning was more popular than Tom Brady? Peyton Manning was more popular. The league pushed Peyton Manning more than Tom Brady. Why? Brady was boring, didn't say shit. Was it 500-yard passing games? 148 here, 320 here, 372. Peyton Manning's 458, 3 touchdowns, 500 yards, 445. Shit like that. He was spectacular. He was great to push the league. Guys like Jalen and Brady, they got their accolades at the end, not during. There's a difference in how you approach this. Troy Aikman was never going to be considered the greatest quarterback in the history of the league. But at the end of it, you go, Jesus, man, all the conference championship games that he played in, the Super Bowls that he played in, oh, he's just a system quarterback. That's the stupidest thing on the planet. So is Jalen Hurts, a system quarterback. It's funny, isn't it? Dallas has never been able to replicate that system that Aikman ran. Even with the great stars like Des Bryant and Ezekiel Elliott and whomever they've ever had run the ball. Funny, they couldn't duplicate it. Oh, well, Aikman's overrated. How's Aikman overrated when the Cowboys have never been able to do what he did with those players? That's not true. That's media stuff so you can categorize certain quarterbacks and athletes. Interesting how people look at things. Jalen Hurts being the greatest quarterback in Eagle history. I would say one more time, let it play out, man. Let it play out. All right. Now, I did hear this. People were talking about Donovan McNabb. We've kind of broached this. You know why I think this got brought up about McNabb in the Hall of Fame? Because Andrew Luck's name got brought up. Was McNabb better than Andrew Luck? Was McNabb better than Andrew Luck? Luck didn't have shit in them Colts teams. Okay? And McNabb played longer. And McNabb succeeded longer and won. Who was a more gifted athlete? Tough there too. Both exceptional. Both exceptional. So Ray goes, yes, because he had more seasons. So longevity. And hey, Ray, I do believe longevity has to be part of an evaluation on how long you play. And I think you get massive kudos if you succeed as long as you succeed. Brady into his, whatever year it was at 45 years of age, had a spectacular season. You'll never see a 45-year-old quarterback do what Brady did a year ago on a team that was 7-9. You'll never see that again. You'll never see a 45-year-old quarterback put the numbers up he put up, okay, and have the amount of attempts. Listen, you guys know that I'm on panels for the Hall of Fame, and you guys are you think that McNabb was better than Jim Kelly. I don't think so. Was he better than Warren Moon? No. Is he in between those two? Probably. I would say this. If I were going to put McNabb in between guys, Moon, Kelly, is he in there? Probably not. Moon, better arm. Kelly, more winning. Kelly just was a better passer. Here, I really do believe McNabb not winning that Super Bowl against New England, if he wins it, I think you have the conversation. I think you have it. Do I think he ever gets in on a veterans committee? Let me ask you this, because this is important, because you guys know all the Hall of Fame voters that come on. What kind of relationship does he have with the Philly media? Because this will be important on who makes the pitch for him down the line as this continues to go for him. Who makes the pitch for him is going to be important. What's his relationship in Philadelphia today? Because I think it's important today. What's his relationship with the Philly sports media? Because that'll determine on if he'll ever be. You see, Mark Gastineau's his relationship with the New York media is atrocious. He'll never be debated, and he should be. He's a better player. Fred Dean gets in the Hall of Fame. How's that? Fred Dean was never better as a football player than Mark Gastineau, ever. And he's in, and Mark isn't. And he was actually debated. Mark hasn't been. Okay? Joe, thank you, brother. He was durable, not fragile, rugged, not great. McNabb was really good, but wasn't great. McNabb was in the Super Bowl. He's a lock for Hall of Fame. Whatever, guy. They're not even debating him, Arthur. Arthur, they're not even debating him. They're not even bringing his name up. He's not even on a list of consideration. I see the list. His name hasn't been on the list in 4 years. What do you mean he's a lock? If you're not on the top 100, then 25, you'll never be in the conversation. He's never in the conversation. He's on no list to be considered for the Hall of Fame. None. None. Wishful thinking. McNabb deserves honorable mentions for the best Eagles quarterback. Well, who is the best Eagle quarterback? Is it Donovan? Is McNabb the best quarterback in your franchise's history? Gabriel, it's a little too old for me. Jurgensen, it's a little too old for me as well. Okay. Randall, Jaws. Foles had the greatest moment in Eagle history. Vic was probably the most electric. Right? Vic is the most electric quarterback you've ever had. I agree, Pickin. McNabb is your best quarterback. By the way, Wentz has to be in the top 10. Wins the Super Bowl ring too. Part of a Super Bowl championship team. You don't win the Super Bowl unless he's on that team. Finish second in the MVP voting. He's pretty much got the same resume as your guy Hurts does. We've said this before. Whether you perceive Jalen to be better or not is not the point. The resume for him being an Eagle quarterback, he owns single-season touchdown records that are littered all over your history. He threw for more yards than Donovan McNabb or any quarterback in the history of the Eagles. He's thrown more touchdown passes than any quarterback in Eagle history for a season. You can't deny that. You see, that's the greatest thing about a resume. And that's the greatest thing about accomplishments. You can't change them. You can't change them. He brought a lot to the table. He, like I said, though, about Jalen early, he didn't last long. It's okay. We see careers like that all the time. Some guys stay a long time. Some guys don't. They don't. McNabb was a threat to win it all every season. That's a great point. You constantly had your football team in it to win it. Every year he was the quarterback in Philly. I think there's some context to that. Tony, I'm not going into playoff games and relitigating that. I'm going on what he's done. Okay? I'm going on what he's done and what he's accomplished. Runner-up MVP, Burt Bell Most Valuable Player, 11-2, All-Pro, all of it. Single-season records everywhere. He owns them. I don't care what's his. Okay. Jalen Hurts has to first break his records too. There's not one record that Jalen has that Wentz doesn't have. And to boot, Jalen's got an NFC title ring. Wentz has one too, and a Super Bowl ring. Whatever you think about it, McNabb broke my heart too many times. I will forever have a bad rap for him. If that makes me ungrateful, so be it. Tone, that doesn't make you ungrateful. When the face of the franchise is a quarterback that you have How about this? You think Dallas Cowboy fans are happy with Dak Prescott right now, Tone? You look at Dak Prescott right now. You think they're happy with having him being the Joel Embiid of the NFL? Early exits, 2-4 in the postseason, looking good in the regular season, people giving him accolades, this and that, shows up in the postseason, he goes nowhere. Okay? Counting that for Wentz. Really? So get this. You see what Tony just said? If Wentz doesn't play the way he did in the Super Bowl season, he shouldn't get credit for the 11-2 record he had. What an asinine comment. The way Wentz played in 17 was electric. He was electric. You're choosing to forget. You're choosing to forget. He was 11-2 and electric. I think he had 33 touchdowns and 7 picks. He was electric. You don't get to the Super Bowl if he doesn't play that way because you won't win home field advantage. Foles came in the back end of closed the deal, obviously, no question. But if it wasn't for Wentz going on that, 9-game winning streak they had in that season, you don't have home field advantage. And if you don't have home field advantage in 17 going through Philly, you ain't going to the Super Bowl. Whatever, Tony. Whatever. So an all-timer. We'll see. Wentz was dominant in 17, arguably the greatest quarterback we've seen in Philly. Correct. Tone. That season was the greatest season that a quarterback played in Philadelphia sports history. I'll say it again. That season that he helped lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl was the greatest single season in Philadelphia quarterbacking Eagle history. Look at the numbers. And then look at the results. You choose to change history here. That's why when people are bringing up Jalen's the greatest quarterback, really? He hasn't even had a better season than what Wentz has had.